I wonder how long it's gonna take people to realize I'm not using my mask. I'm just dead.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Recap Review. Today we're looking over set number 8913, Toa Mahri Nuparu. The set contains approximately 59 pieces, was released in summer of 2007, and the time of release was approximately $10. Well, look at you Nuparu, you traded out your claws and your shoulder cannon for a normal hand cannon and a giant shield. I mean, I'm not gonna complain, that's fine, but hey, it's just a giant shield. You also have a really great color scheme. Well, that aside, let's jump right into the pros, the cons, and more importantly, the comparison, because everyone wants to see how this guy stacks up. This is Nuparu in 2007, and the prior set in his set lineage is Nuparu from 2006. Very dusty Nuparu. So as we can see here, quite a few things have actually changed. Nuparu from 2006 was kind of the regular Toa Anika, with some Vaki arms and unique claws and a shoulder cannon and, well, punk rock hair. Nuparu of 2007, on the other hand, has a giant shield and is a lot taller. His limbs have gotten quite a bit longer. They've also got these new spike pieces, which is kind of interesting to see. Not only has his limbs gotten longer, but his torso, a modified Anika torso, has also gotten taller by at least one peg. So that's kind of interesting to see. His color scheme is also darkened a tad as well. Nuparu of 2007 had light gray and black, while Nuparu of 2006. Oh my goodness. While Nuparu of 2007 has black and dark gray, which is a very common color scheme for Toa of Earth, specifically harkening back to Toa Onua of 2001 and 2002. So I found that interesting to see here. He switched out his masks as well, actually, as opposed to the Kaden, the Mask of Flight, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to the Volatak Mask of Stealth, with a giant tube attached. Weapon-wise, he traded in his laser drill for a giant shield. And that's kind of cool. That's very interesting. And finally, his feet have changed quite drastically as well. As opposed to the rounded Toa Anika feet, we have giant black webbed Paraka feet, which I believe is a new recolor, but I'm not 100% sure. So that pretty much settles the comparison. What do you guys think? Now then, off with you, fly away, while you still can at least, and let's get into Nuparu Mahri. Starting off with the pros. Oh wait, no. Disclaimer. Just because something is mentioned here by me does not necessarily mean I agree with it. Just because a pro or con is here doesn't mean that I believe it or it's my pro or my con. I do one of two things. Either A, the pro or con has been brought up because I have personally observed something that some people may not find to their liking over the years of owning this set. Or B, the pro or the con is here because of something I have heard from several different community members over the years of this set being released. Unless I explicitly say otherwise, assume that I'm just giving you the information as is, and I do not agree nor disagree with any given pro or con. With that out of the way, let's jump into the pros. Right off the bat, his standard amount of articulation. 3 in the arms, 3 in the legs, and 1 in the head. So that's pretty normal. Now the pro would be his color scheme. It's darkened just a smidge, but it is incredibly consistent. It's really interesting to see. They really did a great job with this. There's not a whole lot of silver, but I think the silver is more accents as opposed to more armored versions. Other pros would be his new armor pieces. We have tutu. He's not wearing a tutu. We have 2 new types of armor piece, and not necessarily their look, but their side. They're asymmetrical. We have this one here, the one that goes on the right, and then the one that goes on the left. And he comes with 4 of these in black. So it's kind of interesting to see these new pieces being introduced. And they do cover, not the entire arm, but most of it. So, and the leg. Now the pro would be his unique construction. He's not unique in the sense that, Whoa, it's mind-blowing, man! But he is in a Nika build, but it is a modified Nika build. This is one of the first few times we've seen the Nika build be modified in such a way where it is taller. And we're going to see that again in the future. Another pro would be stability. Because of his large feet, he's very, very stable. He stands quite easily. Back to new pieces, however, we also have a few others, specifically the Kordak Blaster and the Kordak Rounds right below his arm. We have his new mask, the aforementioned Vol Attack, and this is another new interesting piece. The mask comes with a visor, which you can get out right here. Because of the visor, this is the visor piece, this comes with 3 of the Toa Mahri and 1 other Toa set in 2007. But because of this, we have a longer axle piece in the mask, so that way you can slip it on, it won't fall off the head, but it'll also retain the visor. So that's a really neat piece, especially considering they're going for the whole scuba diver theme with these Toa. And finally, in the same vein as new pieces, we have the tube piece here, and his giant shield. This shield is 2 pieces, one on the top, one on the bottom. It's really cool to see. Granted, it doesn't really work very well as a shield, now does it? I mean, sure, a round hits here, a round hits there, and you're fine, but a round goes right through there, well, adios, you're toast. But the new pieces are most definitely a pro. Another pro would probably have to be the blaster, the Kordak Revolving Blaster. Now, Nuparu, as per standard, with the Toa Mahri, comes with 6 rounds in the barrel, and then 3 extra rounds, which are placed right under his right arm. Now, the blaster works as so. Take your 2 index fingers and your thumb, put them like this, and there you go. Works very well. Very nice to see that. Another pro would be the unique pack on his back. This isn't some revolutionary design here or anything, but it is very interesting to see this kind of almost air container that lies on his back right here. It's a unique design and it works very well. It's not very intrusive or whatnot, so it works very nicely. It does look nice on the set, so that's really cool to see. That pretty much sums it up for the majority of the pros. I mean, he's a cool looking set. He looks really neat. He has a lot of great personality to him. The Kordak Blaster is a lot of fun to play with, and the shield looks fantastic. Overall, this set is really nice. The color scheme is also very consistent, so I really like it. Now it is time to get into the cons. Now the cons, these are what make the set a little bit less worth going back to get. And starting right off, we're actually going to address the color scheme. Not that it's bad, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Kordak Blaster, the red, does clash fairly severely with the entire thing, and the green is at a place, but that's not a great big issue. I'm not going to peg, I mean, that is a con, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to peg the color scheme as being an issue. I'm going to address, however, the fact that any single one of you that says LEGO doesn't have control over using red pins in sets that shouldn't have red pins can look right here. You see that? Oh, what's that? What's that? Is that a black pin on a black set? And what? Oh my goodness! Even one that's holding his Kordak Blaster. What is this madness? Can you guys believe this? Wait, hold it. Validated? I can't believe it myself. Any single time anybody has ever said that LEGO has no control over the red and blue pins being used in sets that should not have red and blue pins, I think Nuparu Mahri. I think of this set right here. Granted, this beautiful lack of red and blue pins is kind of subverted by the fact that he has a giant Kordak Blaster, and that's a bunch of red, but still, I digress. Just wanted to address that. Moving on with the cons, the new armor piece is very unusual. It doesn't really cover his whole arm. It actually only covers up a small portion of it, with the rest being fairly open. Speaking of being open, Nuparu Mahri has a lot of gaps, specifically in his legs, and that's due to the shape of the Paraka arm. Speaking of gaps, his shield is very, very gappy, and it looks not very much like a shield. His head, while the mobility is fine, the tube does occasionally get in the way of this thing, or vice versa, so it does kind of bend in unusual ways and shapes. This thing is kind of unusual in the fact that it's here, and it's using green instead of the what one would assume would be the logical choice, the red back here. So that's kind of strange. He's an Anika build, so he's not really anything spectacular. He's actually fairly simplistic, which is kind of a shame. But, you know, that's what we come to expect with the Anika build. Finally, not actually finally, 3 more things. First of all, the silver is in a very small amount, so it doesn't really seem like it's doing much. The headpiece, the shield, the Kodak Blaster even, all could have easily been black. An easier way to deal with this would just be adding more silver, even these, which later do come out in silver anyway. The other thing is his posing. Because of the arm piece he uses, posing with the shield is fairly limited. You either do this, or you awkwardly do that. You can't really do anything much more. So his posing options are very, very limited. There's not a whole lot you can do. You can do pretty much the basic, you know, pointing with his blaster and having a shield right there, and that's effectively it. And finally, the Kodak Blaster itself. It doesn't always work, and because these are underwater sets, you'd expect a lot of folks to put these underwater, in which case it will, over time, damage the piece, because there is a metallic spring in there, and then you can get a bunch of dust or what have you inside the Kodak Blaster, which makes it harder to fire it, and harder for it to operate under normal, standard working circumstances. So that effectively covers everything regarding Nuparu Mahri. What do you guys think? Do you like Nuparu Mahri? I think he's a very, very decently done set. He's not spectacular, he's just a standard Anika build. However, he does have some, or not exactly standard, he's an Anika build, but he does have some modifications, and he is very cool looking. The color scheme is incredibly solid and does harken back to older Toa of Earth. The shield piece and the new pieces in general are very nice to see, and the mask does look really cool. Overall, Nuparu Mahri has a very unique look to him, and a unique look just, I suppose, in general. Unfortunately, he's very gappy, he has unusual piece choices, and the Kodak Blaster is quite wonky at times, and the shield piece is very gappy. But that's just the sum of things. What do you guys think? Do you guys like Nuparu Mahri? Do you guys don't like Nuparu Mahri? Let me know either in the comments below or on the TTV message boards. Thank you all very much for watching, and if you feel there's anything I messed up on, or should have mentioned, please let me know in the aforementioned places. Join me next week when I go over, that's right, take a guess. Now I'm just going to tell you, Toa Mahri Hale. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.